Public education in Edinburg, Virginia began about 1876 at the old Cedar Hill Academy, then located at the top of the hill at the north end of town. Construction of the Edinburg School building you see today, located along Stony Creek Boulevard, began in 1932. It was completed a year later. A $15 million bond had been issued to finance the project.
I was in the first grade, the first year that school opened, and we watched it being built. It was very exciting. I remember walking up there with my mother and looking inside and thinking, oh, it was so big, and I was going to that school. And I did. And there were 11 grades, and every teacher came from the local area. It was so shiny and new, and the classrooms were huge, just huge, and they had these monstrous windows that had funny-looking long poles that you pushed them up and down. So we just enjoyed being in school.
The school's first diploma was issued in 1934. From its beginning, Edinburg School always played a big role in the community.
Everybody in town was involved. I don't mean that you went to the school, but the adults were very much involved. It was truly the center of life in Edinburg.
By the mid-1940s and 50s, a growing student population began to overwhelm the school facilities.
They were in desperate need, and I had come home, and I was going to teach music because that was my field. And I was hired as a music teacher, but also as an art teacher and as an 8th grade English teacher. And my classroom was the gym, and the janitor did not have the gym in the contract, so he didn't have to clean it. So 3 of my 8th grade boys cleaned the gym every morning before we started school. And then we set our desk up, and the 8th grade class came in, and then we took our desk down, and I pushed my art stuff back in the corner and went up on the stage and closed the curtains and taught music while the boys had basketball and all kinds of horrible things were going on. And then every once in a while the basketball would hit some of our art and squish some of the paintings, and we'd have to do things over again.
In 1944, the Shenandoah County School Board purchased additional 10 acres adjoining the property, including a large chicken house building. And it wasn't long before the building was converted into so-called temporary classrooms. There simply wasn't enough money to do much more than that at the time. And so a lot of Edinburg School students began their primary school years in what everyone simply called the chicken house. In the 1950s, Edinburg School still handled grades 1 through 12. Only after a county-wide school consolidation project was completed in 1959 would there ever be any relief to the overcrowding at the Edinburg School. The building finally closed as a public school when a new elementary school opened in nearby Woodstock, and for many years after that, the building's future was in doubt. By the 2000s, the Shenandoah County Board of Supervisors faced the prospect of having this old, still elegant school building deteriorated to the point where it may have to be demolished. But by then, the building happened to catch the attention of Dr. Keith Rowland, who at that time was the Shenandoah County School Superintendent. Shenandoah County schools had been facing challenges with providing education services to children with special needs. It bothered Dr. Rowland that these students were spending a lot of time on the road as they were routinely transported to facilities outside of Shenandoah County. Dr. Rowland began to explore the options of working with Charterhouse School in Richmond, Virginia.
We gave them a call, and they said, well, we'd actually been thinking about that as a possibility of relocating to Shenandoah County or somewhere in the Shenandoah Valley and starting a school there. This facility, the Edinburg School, was in dire need of improvements. We've tried to preserve the integrity of the building with the design so that the building looks the same, but on the inside the building is going to be modern, it's going to have some of the latest technology opportunities, and it's going to enable us to serve students who have severe emotionally disturbed issues and also autistic issues.
The result was the renovation project that has preserved what had been the center of the community life for so many people in the Edinburg area, but in a way that was provided a cost-effective means to modernize the school and bring it back into the school system, and now with a new educational mission. Charterhouse is the educational arm of the United Methodist Family Services. For almost 35 years, they've provided education services for students with a variety of disabilities.
I think what we're seeing is that there is such a wide range of autism that it is actually known or referred to as students who are on the spectrum because they have so many different characteristics and traits.
I think that, people with autism are not less than everybody else. They're just as good and just as smart as everyone else, but sometimes there's no way of tapping that.
For so many years, Edinburg School has been an important part of the community life. Then and now, the beautiful building has represented so much good to so many people. But now it becomes the first old school building to come back into service as part of the Shenandoah County school system, and in a new way, serving the community as a true 21st century educational facility, one that promises to return much long-term value over the coming years and decades.